when I was small, my ambition was to be a teacher. And when I started to learn French, it became my passion. So it's this passion for teaching and for the French language, which actually urged me to become a French teacher.
So the first thing was like from my small days, I wanted to become a teacher, and what made me become a French teacher exactly, it was because of my teachers, my French teachers who were there in school when I was schooling. So then only I thought, okay, this language is interesting, and with the way they taught the language to me, I got this idea of becoming a French teacher.
I think it was my passion for language learning, and then I really found the joy of French language teaching. And at the beginning, I would say the Alliance Française de Kandy was the cornerstone of my French language teaching career.
While I was a student, I had the opportunity to help one of my friends with a grammar lesson that she was having trouble understanding. When I was able to show her a different way to approach that grammar lesson, and when she got it, I knew that I had chosen the right field. So that was like my first inspiration to become a French teacher, and now I'm so happy about being a French teacher.
So learning French was my passion because I loved the French culture, and as well as I loved how French people were pronouncing their words, especially their accent. So I continued learning French, and afterwards I wanted to share what I've learned with the learners so that they can understand how important the French language is and how rich their culture is.
That's my love for teaching, and that's my love for this beautiful language. That's a combination of both.
Proposing them different activities to make the teaching learning process more student-centered, and also to encourage them to be more active participants in the lesson.
It was indeed a challenge in the beginning, and now I think it's getting better little by little. So what I do is I always, like all the teachers do, we have these lesson plans with us, and I don't forget to integrate group activities, little discussions according to the level, maybe debates, role plays, which are also interesting, and try some online games, and also to listen to some songs at times. So yes, that's how I do it.
I tried to use the full potential of the technology during my online classes, and also I do my best to make my lessons more and more interesting during the online classes with good lesson preparation and also some very interesting activities such as group activities, discussions, and debates, etc. And the students, they love it.
Actually, presentations that contain only blocks of text are boring. So in order to keep my students' attention on the screen, I use music and I played songs, and also I ask my students to stand up and to dance so that they can be physically active in an online classroom. And I think virtual classroom can be boring when everyone's mic is muted. So I ask always my students to communicate with me and also to communicate with the other students. So we already know that the main priority of learning a language is communication. So we should communicate and we should express ourselves in a language learning class. So I ask my students to communicate with me and to express themselves, and rather than that, I play games with them, for example, guessing games and bingo games. So that is how I keep my students engaged in the virtual classroom.
So with the current situation, it's actually quite challenging to keep all the students engaged during the whole session, especially when it comes to the small children. So what I always is I ask all the students to switch on their cameras if they are not facing any connection issues. And I always make sure to ask questions from each and every one. And I name the students when I'm asking the question so that they feel included during the whole session.
I always make it more interactive with discussions, and I always use the chat box and the interactive presentations, quizzes, online games, variety of tools.
The ability to work with the new technology in a digitalized environment, and to be more familiar with this new concept of virtual classroom activities.
So first of all, I got to know that we all have this potential, to do these classes not only on site but also online. And it was, I think, the positive side of the pandemic, I can say. And then I got a good knowledge on online teaching, online language teaching, and I got to know new online platforms. So I had all these, positive things added, I think, to my career.
I have learned how to teach French language online differently using the technology and different methods. I would also say that I have learned the presentation skills and the way I interact with my students during the online classes.
When talking about the positive changes in my career as a teaching through the online education, I could use more and more online resources than in a physical classroom to make the lessons more interesting to the students. So that made the positive changes in my career as a teacher.
So thanks to the online teaching, I was able to explore and I was able to find out more innovative teaching skills. And at the same time, I was able to improve the technological skills.
I think this is the greatest preparation for the future of learning and teaching process. So I was exposed to a wide variety of teaching and learning tools and methods.